Hi, everybody. I am Anjanette, and I'm with my co-host, CJC Boyd, and this is Real Life for the Entrepreneurs. And today we want to talk to you about individuality. So, for me, that means really showing up as yourself and being who you are authentically. So, I think there's a lot of people telling people how to be out there, and I think that's really confusing the message, and it's kind of taking people out of alignment with their natural order and who they are as a person. So, what are your thoughts about that?
I agree. I think, everybody is toting they know the way to make you successful and to show up and to copy and paste. And sometimes when you go on, you can see the people that people have trained under or what company they're with just based upon the wording that they use. And I myself even, sometimes think, oh, I should change this because I want to reach these people, when in reality, those are not my people. I need to show up authentically, real and raw as myself in order to get the people who really resonate with me.
That makes a lot of sense. I get it a lot because I'm in health and everybody wants me to do one specific thing. And I kind of feel like, but I have all these specialties. So they say, well, then you're not really hitting with the right person. But they're all my people. So I say, well, health is everything. So what do you mean? What are the chances somebody doesn't need better health? So that kind of took me out of alignment for me. But I do understand that. Someone said to me recently, and I think I shared this too. She said, Andre, you have a lot of specialties. And she said, when I asked you what you did, you said leaky gut, thyroid, weight loss. She said, so a lot of people don't even know what leaky gut is. And that's apparent because I was undiagnosed for so many years. And I hear what people out there saying is gut health, and it really isn't so. So she said, so because you specialize in weight loss, she said, and millions of people need that help, shouldn't you really focus on those people because you know they're going to understand that they're who you help? And I said, wow, I never thought of it like that. She said, you still get to help them with the other issues they have, even if they don't realize that's what's going on at that time. She said, but millions of people will raise their hand when you say, I want weight loss. She said, leaky gut probably don't know what it is.
Right.
So how are they going to raise their hands? And then I saw it very differently. So sometimes individuality is open to perceptions. So sometimes we think we know what's aligned with us, but sometimes we can be inside of it and really have tunnel vision and not have a broader perspective. So sometimes we need to be open to, you know, really finding out what's in our wheel well before we try to align with everybody else's, right?
I
But
agree.
that but I think that was the first time that really made sense to me because of the way she said it. She said, well, if I were you and I knew millions of people would raise their hand for this, I wouldn't be worried about this because I'm still going to fix this anyway. And I said, well, there's a thought, right?
Right.
But
It kind of like makes me think of people who join a company or business and they start a product and like gung ho on that product. And, the company sells them that dream of what the product is going to do. And so they like try really hard. And I have a lot of people that are actually in the business that I'm in who try really hard and they're like working and hustling and trying to sell this product and it's not working for them. And I often say, have you really stopped and thought, is this really where you're supposed to be? Is this really where you're headed? Because if you're just trying to sell that product and you're not really honing in on who you are, what your skills are, what your gift is, what your purpose is, what your soul is calling you forth to do, you can try as much as you want. You cannot sell something if you don't believe in yourself and you're not showing up as yourself. And that's why a lot of people fail in the entrepreneur line because they're trying to be just like other people who they, been sold this dream, when in reality, if they just come home to themselves and they actually show up as themselves and on purpose for themselves, then that's when the people come in and the sales are made. They're not having to try so hard.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I do think that sometimes we start with one thing in mind, and it does branch out to other things. So I'm working on people's mindset the last, I promise, for the next 2 months, and I'm doing these little things, and they're all things that I said to myself when I was on that journey.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to strike a chord with them because I did feel low self-esteem. I had all of the issues that these people are expressing. So I do know what they're going through, right? But I don't see myself in the mindset arena, but mindset is so much a part of what I do. But I'm not that mindset coach, right? So
Absolutely.
so sometimes it might be rewording or different from what you started out with. Like even with the weight loss and the gut health. I think because I hear the mixed message out there with gut health, that I own that title because I know they're so far off base. But does it really matter if I'm not helping the people I really mean to help? It can't be about me and well, I'm the expert and this is what's really going on with you, because that's not really the message I want to portray to my audience. Yes, I am that expert, but if they think weight loss is the issue, then it doesn't matter what all the other issues are because we got to correct all of them, right? So it doesn't
Right.
matter if I stand up as Andrea Arnett, or angry nurse Ratchet, whoever I am that day is what they need, right? So I think that we do have to be individuals, but I think sometimes finding our own balance and connecting with our own in integrity and who we are as people, I think that's a process too. Yes, we're all authentic and we're individual, but because we're changing every day and we are growing as we go through the process, I think we adapt and we become and we change, and that identity will change too because we are growing and we are learning. Does that
Absolutely. And
make
I think
sense?
yeah, and I think a lot of times, when you get into the space, people are like, "Oh, build your brand, decide what you want, pick 3 to 5 things that are like your values, your goals, the things you want to talk about, the things you're an expert in, the things that are going to make change in your life and other people's lives." And then as you grow and expand and you do the mindset work, you do the inner work, you do the personal growth and expansion, those things change along the way. And sometimes I think people get in the mode where they're so stuck in like, oh, I started in this space, I need to stay here, that they're not willing to go to that next level. And then sometimes when people go to that next level and they change and they evolve and they expand, they get into that imposter syndrome because they're like, oh, I don't know all the things up here where back here I was the expert in the things. So there it's like you said, it's a growing and expansion. It's an everyday choice to choose to show up and just do the thing and not worry about what other people think or what are people judging you or whatever. Your growth, your expansion, your journey is your journey. And people are going to respect that when you show up and you're like unapologetic about that. I'm growing, expanding. My brand is changing and I'm okay with that. And the people that you bring in will change along the way as well because of your growth.
I like that. I really do. I like being out here today more than I did say last year. So because last year I was probably that angry chicken, where
Yeah.
I wasn't happy because I still had all these people telling, not that I had them, they're always going to be there, but I was allowing them to hold space in my head where um and when I came online, I was so okay with who I was. And then hearing all these mixed messages had me like getting out of that self.
Yeah.
So recently I've been really honing back into who I am, as a person, not just a brand, but as a person, because the brand is me, right? So, but who I am and showing up as that person, and not letting those voices alter me, because if I listen to half of what they say, I wouldn't even be out here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to show, and I'm sure you are too, because it doesn't matter what niche we're in, we are trying to work on everybody's mindset, because mindset is really a key factor in everything we do, in our relationships, our vocation, in our business, certainly. And if I'm second guessing myself, then how could I step forward and just tell them you have to be confident, you have to be confident. So that's a continual journey too. So people think that, you get healthy and you start eating the right foods and that's it, you're done. It's not done because every day you have to continue to eat those right foods. You have to continue to do that me work, right? Because we are always
Absolutely.
growing.
And I think the thing too is that, people come across and like they have it all figured out and I'm the expert and I know all the things and they don't sometimes share that vulnerability. Some days there are days when you get up and you're just like you're second guessing yourself or you're overthinking or you're whatever. Sometimes it's okay to share that too because you don't want people to think that, like you said, is you say, okay, today I want to lose weight. 3 days from now, I've achieved that goal. It's all done. No, there are going to be missteps along the way. And you want people to understand that it does take work. It does take a continual choice to keep on that journey and move towards the goal that you want. And sometimes I think part of being the individuality is showing the authenticity and the vulnerability that you don't sometimes have it all figured out. For me, I personally want to work with people who want someone who's been there, done that, but also still in the trenches doing the thing and not just saying, oh, I can tell you how to scale from here to here, and there's going to be no pitfalls, there's no going to be no missteps. I want to be surrounded by people who want that support and know that there's a safety net there, that you're never going to give up, that you're going to be supported. And I think being in the proximity of people who support you, but also challenge you is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm challenged every day. So
Uh-huh.
I'm
Audra
challenged every day.
challenges me every day. Let's be real.
But I mean, I push myself constantly. And today, like I was going on my walk. I walk every day to the train, and I don't have to. There's a little omnibus that takes me there because it's a nice walk though. It's only like about a mile. But I walk it because those are the things I did to get back to where I wanted to be. And when we start taking out those little things, all of that stuff that we work so hard for comes away very quickly. So it's not so easy to get to it, but it's very easy to lose. So I remind myself of that every day. There were a couple of days where my husband said, "Oh, let me drive you." And I noticed that I didn't have the same energy when I got to work. I didn't show up with the same, because it was those little things I did on that walk. I do my gratitude, like I do my gratitude in the morning before I get out of bed, but I always have that gratitude walk, I turn things over. Um, I actually stop to look at the trees and to see, oh, look, this is budding and stuff like that. Things that I don't always do throughout the day. So that 15 or 20 minutes does set me up for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to remember that. See, even when you're trying to build a business, right? There are certain things you have to do. Having 3,000 leads, if you're not following up with them, is not going to do you any good. And that was something that I just, couldn't keep up with when it was just me. Oh, I have all these people that are interested. Great. They look lovely over there. But if I don't reach out to them, what good is that doing in my business? Because you don't have a business if you don't have leads and people that really want to work with you, right? So
Exactly.
those things that you were doing in the beginning, those don't change at the other levels. Maybe the
Oh,
magnitude or automation where you're not so present in your business so you can spend more time with those clients, those kind of things change as you scale. But the basics of your business, having that integrity and what you stand for and what you deliver and like, what your expertise in, that doesn't really change.
no.
You get better at what you do because hopefully you're still educating yourself. I've been in healthcare a long time. I learn something new every day because healthcare is always changing. And the moment I say I've had enough or I've learned enough,
Yeah.
then I'm not serving anyone, especially not
Exactly.
myself, right?
Yeah.
So we do have to be willing to grow. So individuality, what is that for you? Who is Kathy Boyd?
Uh, I think for me, it's a matter of, like you said, coming back to basics. A lot of times we run from our childhood, and for me, I used to sit and go, rethink the things in my head that I was told as a child. People like us have to work hard for our money. People like us don't make it big in the world. People like us have to be the grunt workers behind the scenes, not out in the forefront, not leading the charge, doing the heavy lifting. And so for me, like really honing into that and realizing that that was a foundation of who I was as a child, but that was a building block to build me into who I am now, to say, yes, I was this person, I came from here, and be in total gratitude for that now as an adult. Whereas a child, I was like, why can't I be like so and so? Why wasn't I born into that family who has money? But to really be in gratitude for the foundation that was laid for me by my parents and my grandparents, and knowing, my mom was the hardest worker that I know. That foundation, that's something that she ingrained in me. Always do your job 110%. Always work the business that you're in as an employee as if it was your own business. So going back to those basics, and that foundation was laid as a child, and then honing in on those things and being in gratitude that those things made me who I am, but also knowing that, like you said, continuing to grow your mind, grow who you are as a person, and the things that excite you, the things that level you up. So for me, it's remembering who I am, small town girl, a hard work ethic, but somebody who is a service led person, that I lead from my heart. I want to help as many people as possible. I want to hold space for people. I want to be that woman that when they think of my name, they're like, oh yeah, she believed in me until I believed in me. So for me, being individual is like really just being heart centered, listening to the whispers of my heart, to know that I get to hold space for other people and continue to grow myself as a woman, as a person. So being an individual, it's hard to answer honestly, because I feel like it's evolving. Like every step of my business, I'm evolving and I'm growing as I'm growing my brand. So just really being mindful and thoughtful of where I came from, being in gratitude for that, but also knowing that I get to be the leader. I get to lead the charge. I get to step up and change that trajectory for my family and lead by example for my daughters. And then my daughters get to lead for their daughters, and to just be the one who broke the mold where you can do absolutely anything that you want to do. There's no limits on who you can be or what you're capable of.
I love all of what you just said. So I want to share something with you today because I think it's odd that you said remember where you came from. So my mom's been dead a really long time, and Mother's Day is coming, and I always feel my mother's presence even though she's gone. She sends me all little messages. And this morning I have my mother's picture in this little hutch that's like off my doorway when you come into my home. And today I was reaching for something and it came crashing down right on my head. Nothing happened to it. Her picture. Like, hello, I'm still here. My birthday's coming up. So like if you my mom died on Mother's Day, right? So so yeah, so Mother's Day is coming up. So she's letting me know her anniversary. But to me, that was like telling me, remember where you came from. You know, my sister's going through some struggles, and even though she won't openly admit it, um, that was kind of grounding me and letting me know, you know, to just be who I am, um, because my first instinct is always to rescue, and somebody doesn't always want to be rescued, and that's
Right.
who I am as a person. I'm always there to rescue. If you're drowning, I'll jump in. And sometimes you just have to let people find their own way, whether it's family or in business, there were a lot of people that told me some really, really good insights when I first came out, but I had some really bad experiences. So the hand came up like, talk to the hand. 'Cause I don't
Yeah.
want to hear anything you have to say at this point. I'll figure it out. And sometimes, I think that we change. So the individual in me is very, very hard headed. I am stubborn as the day is long, and I get stuck in my head that I'm going to do it no matter what. And I just keep growing. If I need help, I'm not afraid to ask for help. Certainly working in the healthcare, you always need help. You don't work by yourself. You work as a team. So
Right.
but I think that individual to me is like you said, remembering where I came from and not as a hindrance, but more as a strength, because I do look back at who I was, what people told me I could never do or achieve. And I've done all of those things in spite of where I came from. So
Yeah.
it just made me feel stronger in who I am and that I really can achieve anything. So it kind of set the stage for me, like I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Watch me, you know. Because that's, that's kind of who I am. Someone tells me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it just because, you know.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's who I am. But I think I think as an individual, I'm very compassionate and very heart-centered, like you said. I think that I always lead with my heart, and I think that gets me into trouble sometimes, but it's not a part of me that I'm willing to let go of not to have that trouble. So I think that's just part of the package. So yeah, so I think that's great. And I think the message we're really trying to tell you is to really hone into you. So there's so many people out here telling you what to do with health, what to do with your business, how to run your marriage and all these different things. Do you know this there's a relationship advice online and all these different things now. And I think that you really have to look in. It's very easy to look out, but you have to really define what you want and what's going to make you happy before you can pivot to the success and finding that, right? So
Right.
if you don't know what you want, it's really hard to set goals and those steps. So you
Absolutely.
do have to know that. And then you can raise your hand if you need the help. Hello. Or or not, sometimes people do figure it out on their own. So it's just about, knowing what you want and what the next steps are. So, any final words for our audience today?
I think the thing that I want people to understand with individuality is, there's everybody out there telling you who you should be, what you should do to be that next version of you, when in reality, being an individual means coming home to who you truly are at the soul level, at your heart level. And so if you want to grow and expand and be bigger and better and do all the things, you really just need to really hone in on who you are as a human being. And then that's the starting block.
I love that. We're going to leave it on that note. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It was great talking to you. Have a wonderful day. Take care.